Okay, I'm gonna get started. So first of all, thank you for being here. I know there's a new topic for a lot of people, but it's a very important topic for me. And I would like to tell you a little bit more about it. So I decided to do this webinar and allow you to see what it is that I'm talking about when I say usable energy hours. Over the last year or so, that's when I started using this term more. And I found that some people don't quite understand what it means. So I decided to make it more understood, because it's something that we all deal with. And so I'm going to get started with this. It'll be a short presentation, and hopefully you'll be able to see everything. So let's get started here. So by the end of today, you're going to have an understanding of what usable energy means, at least when I define it. And hopefully, as I explain it, you will feel that it's very relatable, makes sense, and that's how you'll define it as well. And if not, then that's something that needs to be discussed more, right? And maybe more people need to come on to this and have an understanding of what it means for more people. But I'm going to explain it as what it means to me. And further to that will be the usable energy hours. By the end of the webinar, you should be able to know that there are different types of energy and that they all play a part in your productivity, and which types of energy you possess or which ones are stronger within you. And you'll have a broader understanding of what barriers you need to overcome, or perhaps give you a better understanding of why you are the way you are when it comes to energy, when it comes to productivity and all that kind of thing. So those are things that I'm hoping by the end of today, you will feel that I have achieved with this here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my own journey and how I came to this point and why I use the word usable energy. Now, it wasn't my whole life that I knew there was something different about me, but I didn't quite know what it was at the time. So over time, I did have to kind of, determine what was wrong with me, and that even something was wrong with me, and that could be explained, right? So first of all, I was born, I did have a hearing loss at the time. So, I guess that kind of set up the outcome, or the years that I've had where I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I thought maybe it was just because I'm deaf. When I'm deaf, it made me different than all the other kids. But as an adult now, I look back and I could see I was different in other ways too, that I didn't quite know. I didn't know that the way I felt was different. So when I was growing up, I often felt weak. So like in gym class, for example, we run around and I would run 2 laps and I'd be like, okay, that's it. My body didn't want to do it anymore. Other kids could keep going. And I never really understood how or why I couldn't. And then that made me feel bad about myself. I often felt disorganized. I love organization. If you know me, you know how much I like to organize things. But if I felt disorganized, I still feel disorganized, even when my things are to other people very organized. But I think it was something in my head always telling me that I'm not organized enough. and I was always tired. Or I'm not talking sleepy tired, I'm talking just my body was tired. I didn't have energy to do the things that other kids my age were doing. So, like all day at school, and then after school they would go out and do sports or whatever. And I'm like, oh, my day is done. Even from a young age, I don't remember doing a lot of activity after school because I just didn't have it in me. As I go older, when I was like a young adult in college, I still had a lot of pain. And understand at that time, it came and go. Like it would come and then it would be fine, and then it'd be pain again, fine. And it would be in different parts of my body. So it was really strange to me, and I didn't understand it. And I was getting sick, and I didn't know why. Nothing could be explained, and I was weak. And during this time, I was trying to get healthy. I was trying to go to the gym. I was trying to figure out what's going on, make myself better. Went to different doctors, and they're like, like they pushed me up. It wasn't until later, after 2 traumatic events in my life, my pain became more severe and consistent. Like it continued. And I finally got diagnosed with fibromyalgia in my 30s. So I was in my 30s. That's not that long ago. After that, like I wasn't given enough information to learn how to deal with all that. So it took years, and we still learning, trying to exercise, trying to eat healthy, have pain management, all that. And I was trying to figure it out, and I would do my exercising, for example, but I couldn't get through the entire workout without burning out. And like I just felt like, what's wrong with me? I know that this will make me feel better. And it's true, the exercise did make me feel better. I was able to tolerate things longer, but it was really exhausting. It took me a long time to get to a point where I felt like, okay, I'm doing something not quite right. And I burned myself out, and I couldn't do anything for a long time. So now I have changed that mind frame. I knew what I can do, and that's good enough. I've learned I don't have to do like 10 reps just because everybody else is doing 10 reps, as long as I'm moving my body, things like that. And now I'm still working on my own self, I'm still trying to figure out things that work for me. Sometimes things that work for me for a while changes, and then it doesn't work for me anymore. So it's really it's important to know that these things keep evolving, right? But as you get older and as things happen in your life, it's not always going to be, it's not a one and done thing. So that was my journey to where I am now. And I'm trying to help other people do the same thing, because it was a long journey, and I did most of it by myself without a lot of people who knew what it was like to go through what I was going through. I didn't know a lot of people who had these kind of aches and pain until maybe a few years ago, when internet became more, it was easier to find people like yourself. So one of the things I've had to learn was to manage my energy and not my time. Now, this is something that you're probably thinking to yourself, but Terri, the real world does not work that way. And yeah, you would not be wrong if you said that to me. The world does not work in favor of energy. It works in favor of time. But we owe ourselves no matter whether we have any conditions or not, we owe it to ourselves to focus on our energy more than our time. And I realize that's hard. For managing usable energy hours. Again, let's go back to what I mean by energy hours. You're going to be looking how much energy you have in the 24 hours of the day, right? One thing to be aware of is that everybody, every living thing requires energy, every living thing. We all have the same 24 hours a day, but we don't all have the same amount of energy every day. Okay, traditionally, humans focus on the wrong resource, we focus on time. Managing our energy is more realistic than trying to get more energy. And that's something that people say, well, I need more energy, I need more. But then they can't. They've maxed out the amount of energy their body is able to get. And then they just, I don't have the energy, right? The first thing that we need to understand about energy is that there are 4 main types. There's probably more types, but let's focus on these 4. So physical energy is obviously our health and our body and the physical movement that we can make energy-wise, how fast we are and all that stuff, right? So the physical energy. Emotional energy. Emotional energy is how you feel. Do you feel happy, sad? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel, angry? All of the emotions that you have take energy, right? It takes energy to feel anything. And that's something that people need to focus on too. How do you feel? Do you want to feel good? Do you want to feel, anxious all the time? That like that. Mental energy, and this is your brain thinking, thoughts in your head. If you're an overthinker like I am, you are probably using up a lot of energy thinking about things. It's your self-talk. So in your head, when you have that little voice that tells you, oh, you're not good enough, or hey, you're really great at this, that positive or negative brain voice in your head takes up your mental energy, as well as just thinking about everything that you have to do, your to-do list, your schedule, your life, all the components of life can take up that energy from your brain too, because you'll be thinking about it. We're always forward thinking, right? We're thinking what's going to happen next. We also think what happened in the past. We're constantly thinking. And our brains are constantly working just to keep us alive, right? So there's a lot of mental energy there. Spiritual energy, to me, that refers to feeling like you have a purpose, a reason to be here. There's a reason why we're all alive. It doesn't necessarily have to do with religion, but for some people it might. And how we feel about ourselves in the world as a whole, right? Do we feel like we belong in this world? That's a spiritual thing. That can also be an emotional and mental energy as well, right? These things don't stand alone. They all kind of mesh together, but they're using different components. Okay, now who would benefit from managing their energy as opposed to managing their time. Everyone, every single person, whether you're a parent, a teacher, a nurse, anything that you are, anything that you do, you would benefit from managing your energy. But why it's important to me to manage energy? Because I have chronic pain. And so people who have chronic pain or disabilities or chronic illness, they must prioritize their energy. It needs to come before all the time. And the reason for that, because the supply of usable energy is smaller, less than some other people who have all of their health, right? Oh, did you know that when it comes to productivity hacks, now I love going on to different websites and Instagram pages when they're going to give me tips on how to make things easier for myself, how to organize, how to save my time, how to do this and that and this and that. But regular productivity hacks are often ineffective and can actually be harmful to people who have chronic disorders or disability. And the reason for that is because a lot of them say things like, wake up at 5 in the morning every day, or do this every day, do that every day. And it might not be effective for the person in question here. People with chronic pain and disability are often excluded when it comes to conversations around productivity and self-care. I mean, just take a bath, go for a run every morning. You know, a lot of these things, just have a nap. A lot of these things don't help certain people, and that's why it's very important to manage your energy, and you just don't have it, like, you know. And in fact, having chronic pain may rewire the brain to reduce motivation. Okay, and this was a study in mice, and it was published in Journal of Science. There's a whole article about it, information about it, but as somebody who has chronic pain, I definitely agree that I'm not always motivated to do things, and that makes sense to me. Now let's talk about what the difference is between time management and energy management. Okay, so with time management, you're focused on how much time you have, your calendar, your schedule. I need a sip of water. You're focused on how much time you have. And in a day, like I said, you have 24 hours a day, right? Time can be easily broken up into all these little blocks. I have an hour here, I have 20 minutes here. This task would take 20 minutes, put it in that 20-minute slot, right? We have those times very easy to organize by time. But when you're lacking energy, it doesn't necessarily fit. Okay, I have an hour here, but during that hour, I'm so tired. Like I can barely keep my eyes open. So that that task did not get done because, once again, the time didn't match the energy. Okay. With time management, you're focusing on organizing your schedule. And with energy, you're focused on how you feel. When you're planning your task based on time, or the length of time you have, suppose planning your task based on how productive you're going to be. in that moment. And the thing to remember is that time is always going to be there. And people say, I don't have enough time, but you always have time, right? Time is never going to go away. Every day you wake up, there's another 24 hours waiting for you. You always have time. Energy, on the other hand, you don't always have energy. And energy fluctuates throughout the day. So it'll be really good in the morning, maybe, and then slow down mid-afternoon, and you get back in. I don't know, everybody's different. Every day is different. So you have that up and down flow of energy throughout the day. Some people have lots of energy and then they crash. It varies. When you are focused on time management, you're focused on working harder. I mean, I have an hour, I'm going to get as much done as I can in that hour. Whereas energy, you're focused on working smarter. What can I do that will get the most things done without overdoing it, without exceeding my energy level? How productive can I be in that hour? And being realistic about it. Now, again, you're probably thinking, Terri, this is not going to work in real life. It's not, because people have to have jobs and people have appointments. Then, you know, if I need to take the bus somewhere, I have to follow the bus schedule, right? That is very true. However, I want to show you this chart. We have energy, time, and productivity. Now, if you focus on your energy first, you build up on that energy, you get more done in the time that you have. And then you actually end up having more time. You know, you take your energy blocks, focus on your time blocks, and together you have productivity. Your energy and your time equals your usable energy hours. You're going to know, I have more energy during these hours. This is when I'm going to put in my time blocks to do everything I need to do to be productive in my life, right? So it all go hand in hand. But like if you flip it and you do focus on your time, you're going to have less energy. You're not going to be able to get the things done, right? If we focus on time first. Well, I have an hour here, an hour there, I'm going to do that. And again, like I said, this is why we need to have discussions about these things, because it's not the norm to focus on your energy. Okay, so what can we do as an individual? Do an audit on your own time and energy resources and see if it balances out. Does it match? Did your time match your energy? Did your energy match your schedule? Recognize your struggles and your strengths. What times of day you feel more productive and get more done. Ask yourself, what habit do you need to develop? And what habit do you need to let go? That's really important too, because we all have habits. I mean, habit stacking is one of my favorite things to recognize. If you don't know what that is, I mean, you do one habit on top of another. It's also being more efficient use of your time. Research what works for you. It took me a long time to kind of figure out ways I can do things to make things a little bit easier. And then I'm still adjusting things here and there, because over the years things change. My schedule changes. Like, so my time schedule changes. So that means my energy shifts too, based on what my schedule looks like. Researching how other people who have similar issues or the similar goals or who have done this before, research how they did it, and then create a plan that allows focus on energy and self-care as opposed to time, right? Like you can do that, and even if you can't control all of the time things, do what you can with the time that you can control, right? You have to start somewhere. Understand that you're human and things won't change overnight. Like I said, it took me a long time to feel like I had a system in place. You know, I still work on it every day, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because every day changes. Every day my energy is different. So it's not always guaranteed, but it helps me get back on it after a bad day or after something comes up and my focus changes. It's easy to get back onto those habits because I've already or those the energy things that I've learned over the years, the habits, and that helped me get back on track when I lose my focus. Another important thing is to share your journey and have discussions. With time, this can become a norm. That means like in workplaces and such things like that. So with that being said, I want to talk very quickly about the curb cut effect. Well, what that is it refers to the notion that accessibility benefits everyone. It benefits all of us. It starts off with the history of it. There's a whole thing online you can find out about, but the history of it started with sidewalks. You know how sidewalks have those plants so you can down in a wheelchair and back up, right? So that's where it started with I forget where it was, but people were upset, and the people cut all the curbs so that they can get up and down on the sidewalk. But it benefits everybody, right? It benefits not only the people who are in wheelchairs and need to have ramps or whatnot. It also benefits parents pushing strollers, people pulling a wagon, people on bikes. You know, it benefits everybody, right? Other things that benefit everybody, you know, like elevators benefit everybody. Having captions and interpreters benefits everybody. Also being able to work from home, having a shorter work week, flexible schedule, more sick days, all this benefits everybody, right? And why does this matter? And what does it have to do with usable energy hour? If we are able to conserve our energy, we become more productive with our time. And therefore everybody around us benefits. Less burnout, more outcome. And employers would find more productive employees if they provide accessibility and focus on energy hours. So dry in here. Oh. That is why we need to have discussions about energy, usable energy hours. It doesn't matter whether you have a disability or anything. Even if you don't, it benefits to communicate about this because everybody benefits in the long run. So I am going to challenge you to go on your social media and share something that you've learned tonight and tag me. I want us to start the discussion today because I think over the last couple of years with COVID and everything, people have come to a better understanding of time and flexibility and what's important and what they need to be more productive, right? And saving your energy hours. For example, all these people who work from home realize how much time and energy they wasted traveling to work, right? And driving to work, driving home, all that stuff, right? All this stuff needs to be discussed. It needs to be a conversation amongst everybody, because the world is not going to change if we don't start talking more about these things. And there are plenty of people. And like I said, everybody benefits from this, not just people who have disabilities and chronic pain or anything like that. Parents will benefit from this. Various teachers, doctors, nurses, everybody benefits from this. If you're able to focus on your own energy as much as possible, you're going to be a better person in all areas of your life, because you're going to feel refreshed and you're not going to be as anxious, or you're going to be less frustrated with the world. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other reasons, but let's start there. Let's start talking about it. So, and I want to bring up this. You can work with me if you are looking at trying to figure out your own usable energy, and you need help with like getting started. Like getting started is the hardest part for anything new. I would be able to help you figure out what works for you. You will get a scheduled call with me once a week, where we're going to be talking and having feedback and conversation. It's not me lecturing, and it won't be like me saying this, how it works. No, we're going to talk and go back and forth and figure out what will work for you. I will share some of my own experiences and some tips and tasks that I have learned over the years, but it will be a conversation. It won't be a lecture. We will be personalizing everything to fit your needs. So maybe you need help with one area of your life or whatever. Like, you're gonna tell me what you need, and before we start working together, the form, and I ask questions that will help me know if we're gonna be a good match. I will give you some homework based on our conversation. And when I work with my client, I will give them, for example, I'll tell them, write a did it list instead of a to-do list, because they were feeling frustrated, feeling like they didn't get anything done in a day. Well, tell me what you did do that day, write everything that you did do. And you don't have to show it to me. You just, you see it, and you know that you actually done something that day. That was something that I learned early on. I had to focus on what I did do. I would help you with your homework, with your research, I should say. Like if you're trying to find out more about anything in particular or whatever, I can help you with that. You will get VIP access to any webinars or workshops that I do. And this one is a paid one, but I'm going to be having, a free one, but we're going to have some paid ones as well, depending on things. I'm going to have some resources available for you as well. So those things will give you first access to if you are a personal client of mine. And above all, I'm going to be there to cheer you on. I'll give you a little push here and there, but mostly I'm going to be cheering you on. And when you're working with me, you can be proactive in developing our mentor-mentee relationship. The topics of discussion are totally up to you, and you can ask for what you need. You can adjust things to keep sometimes things change as we move along. You're like, okay, well, you know what, that wasn't quite exactly what I was wanting to do, but let's switch it up a little bit more here. You can do that as well. And you will expand your knowledge. You will receive advice and feedback based on my own experience, or things I've heard. And I'll be very honest with you, if that's not something I've done myself, I won't say that I did. I'm just going to tell you, I've heard about this. Maybe it works for you, right? You will straighten your mindset and try new things. And you'll be learning some valuable life lessons. If nothing else, you'll learn about your own life, your own self. You will develop the ability to act or take charge on creating the life that you want. So that is it for me today. Thank you for joining in. I know some people are watching the recording as well. I really appreciate the time that you've given me here today. My social media here, if you want to follow along. You can quickly email me if you would like to be on my newsletter. I send out a newsletter every so often. I don't focus on the time. I focus on my energy. And if I have anything to say, I type up a newsletter and send it out. I try not to send too many emails. I don't want to crowd your inbox and make you miss out on other things. So you'll get an email every now and then. And there'll be like tips and recipes and some stories in there, and as well as some information on any upcoming events and things going on. And that's about it. And I am really looking forward to seeing all of your posts or discussions about usable energy hours. And I really hope that it makes sense to you now that I've brought it up a little bit and explained how I feel about it, focusing on your own energy and how much energy you have. And I know that sometimes, I had one conversation with somebody when I was first starting to use this phrase, and she's like, well, I'm not gonna spend all my time trying to be productive when I can have a nap. And I hadn't laughed at that, but I'm like, well, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say be productive with the energy you have. And sometimes that means taking a nap. I like naps. I had a nap this afternoon before I came here because I knew I was going to be using my energy tonight. And yeah, so it's really important to know your own self and what you need to do. And that's what I'm here for. And I'm hoping that's helpful. And I'm so glad to see you, and I hope to see you next time. Have a good night.